your body recuperates so much quicker. Like from workout to workout, because you never really get too tired.
Right. When you're doing these, say you're doing one workout, one exercise for the whole workout. So you're holding it for as long as you can, maybe, and at what percentage effort? Or just switching up and down, just as long as you feel like, or
let's just say, for example, let's say I was going to do like a half deadlift. I can pull up and hold, and I can rest. I can pull up and hold and rest.
Okay, so that would be like a 3 to 5 second burst, or kind of a hold and pull.
Up and hold and rest. I could do that for a half hour straight or an hour straight, or you can do reps like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can do like you can do 100 reps, 20 reps, whatever you want to do, and quit and rest. Take a little break. You get your oxygen back. Pop up and do another set. 1, 2. Just keep doing that for a whole hour straight.
Right. Back and forth.
Yeah. You can go up and down. But you can do any exercise you want. You can go up and down at the same time. Like this. That gets the side muscle here. Here, you can do this with any exercise. You can do reps. Any number of reps you want. Any number of sets you want. Pace yourself so you don't get too tired.
Right.
Well, it depends how hard you want to push yourself,
Right.
But
so you might do, you were saying do one exercise, but then what you're showing, say, in that half deadlift is you might do one exercise, or what you might do is just pull on that one bar. So say you're working that half deadlift, but you might work that half deadlift from every positional angle for an exercise for an hour.
Yeah,
you just stay on that one thing.
You can do one thing. You can do for a whole half hour, with a few variations if you want to get some different muscles tied in.
Right.
Like you can straight up, push down, off to the side, up, in, out, back, forward, in, up, out, forward. You can do it standing on your toes, up, push your legs in with your arms, out, twist the bar left, right, like this. Or you can just do one arm, pull straight up. You can do reps, any number of reps you want. Of course, the more reps, the less, what do you call that? Percentage of your power you're using.
Okay, by doing higher reps?
Yeah, by doing higher reps, you're dropping your percentage of total output each rep.
Okay, I mean, by the 50th rep, you're not pulling as hard as you were the first rep.
Like, what I mean is, if you're going to do 100 reps up and down like this, you're not going to be able to do like 100% each time. Probably.
Right. It'll be a moderated pace,
like
or a moderated
60%, or
right. So if you hold for a long period of time, you stay at a percentage, kind of a percentage.
Yeah.
And
if you're doing maximum pulls, you pull up, pull as hard as you can. Here's my theory on that: maximum holds and pulls or pushes. This is how you develop a maximum hold in isometrics. Pull up and lock, and surge and lock again, and surge and lock another time, and one more time, surge and lock and hold. That's how you get it maximum. Surge lock, surge lock, surge lock, surge lock. Because each time you're doing it, you're getting more power generated.
Really? Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
And then you can rest. You get your wind back, do it again.
Right.
You do that for a whole hour straight or 2 hours straight.
Right. So when you do a pure maximum like that, and you do the 4 hold, 4 surge and lock, how long do you hold the last one?
And you can hold as long as you want, but when you're at that level, you probably won't be able to hold it too long.
Right.
You're putting so much force in.
Right. Now, how do you breathe when you do this on the different ones? Like, there's not, obviously in weightlifting you use a certain, you kind of hold the breath and blow out, and it's a contracted breath. How do you do these? How do you compare the breath for the jerk reps or the max reps versus the long holds, and how do you breathe while you do this?
Well, on the So the all-out pull, he holds your, what I do, I hold my breath.
Mm-hmm.
The initial pull, I like take a breath, lock and hold it, then I breathe again. Then take another breath, lock and hold, then I breathe again. Take another breath, lock and hold, then I breathe again. Then take another breath, lock and hold. That's how you.
Okay.
That's how you get maximum contraction for high intensity.
Right. Interesting. Do you so when you do a longer hold, what do you do? Do you breathe free? I mean,
you'll have to breathe more freely.
You have to breathe more freely.
A longer hold, you're not going to be able to go 100%.
Right. Right.
You know, unless I don't think you can.
Right.
When you're putting everything you got,
mm-hmm.
you're just going to tire out too quick.
Right. So what I found when I experimented with it, the same thing probably, is that you're learning to keep your muscles contracted while you breathe in a relaxed way when you do the longer. Yeah. So you're letting the breath come, but you're still keeping the muscles locked down.
Yeah, you're keeping everything locked the whole time.
Right. Unless you do the max, which in that way you're doing the real hard breath, Yeah,
you're doing the last. You're giving it everything you got.
Right.
As long as you can hold it, then rest.
Right. One thing I thought was very important with that is when you breathe, some people, when they breathe, especially if they're doing max, they haven't learned to not necessarily push the pressure into their head. That you have to learn to breathe and keep it here instead of out of your face. You'll pass out after a while if you don't learn to.
See, I've been doing it so long, I guess I don't even think about it.
Right.
But let's see, like this here. I can push up. This is like working the front side of my. It's like a quarter squat working the front.
Hmm.
Push up with the arms.
Mm-hmm.
Push up with behind your neck. Up, lock and hold. Up, lock and hold. Up, lock and hold. And one more time. Up, lock and hold. Right there. See, that gives you maximum.
See how you're really generating more and more and more force.
And when you're under total max, you're not going to be able to hold it too long.
Right.
You're giving it everything you got there.
Well, I think that's a skill too, because once you start doing these, you really won't know whether you're at 100% contraction, even if you're trying right away. It takes a while to really get. There's another level but it takes practice to get to it.
Yeah, and the more you practice, the more stronger you'll be able to do them contractions.
Right.
And you have more power. It's like it just comes.
Right.
You have stronger contractions. You have more bodily energy.
Mm-hmm.
Your nerves will get stronger. And you'll keep being able to push harder and harder and harder.
Awesome. Hey, turn that thing one more time to the side, and because you showed the quarter squat leaning forward, I want to see that one leaning backward from the side, because that was pretty cool.
Like that, right?
Yeah, like that. That's cool. Yeah.
See, this is you.
So you're actually leaning backward into it.
I'm actually leaning backward.
Right. Okay.
And when you come up like this, you can also pull your arms forward.
Right.
Like you're doing flies.
Mm-hmm.
Forward and up. Like contract. I'm pulling forward this time.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a maximum effort again.
Mm-hmm.
Up and hold. Up and lock. Up and lock. And up and lock. And that's when you're doing stuff like that, you'll tire out, pretty quick.
Right. The same as a max heavy lift. You can only do so many.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're benching 700, that's your max.
Yeah.
You do it 3 times, you're going to get tired.
Right.
Or if you're using 400, you can sit there and play with it.
What do you think the key? Now you said this builds, a deeper body energy. Why do you think that is, and how does it do it, and what's the best way to do that?
What it does is, it's working so many different muscles, so many different nerves, and so many different angles. You're just tying stuff in and toughening the joints. You're training the nerves. You're training the muscles in ways that, just on standard weights, it's hard to do that many directions.
Mm. So what you're kind of doing is, say you got these little muscles that can generate X amount of power, and a big muscle that can generate a ton of power, but those little muscles are the weak point, and they're really the weak point for energy too. So if you bring those muscles up, all that body energy it's almost the same as like having a weakness in a lift. when you bring all those little muscles up, that body energy has to come up as well.
Yeah.
Too, right?
The more bodily energy. See, people think most people nowadays think a ton of protein.
Mm-hmm.
Eat like a horse. Like they'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in a certain lift. Mm-hmm. They'll do the same thing every time they work out. They'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They'll go eat like a horse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They'll go eat like a horse. But they're relying on the food to give them that energy. Where my theory is, you build the energy with more sets, more work, more different exercises, longer holds, more intensity. You're building bodily energy without the need for all that extra food. You're using your willpower as your steroid. You're using your bodily energy, your nerves, the training more and more and more. Think more and more, stronger, longer, harder, and it's like a long distance runner that can run 40 miles. He didn't start out running 40 miles. He could run maybe 2, then he went to 5, then he went to 10, then he went to 20. You see, you don't start out with that much energy. You got to build it up.
So
while you're building that energy, you build your nerves,
right,
and bring it all up at once. You can eat normal. You don't have to eat a fucking big can of protein every day. That's what I used to do when I was younger, and I ruined my fucking health. Now with these, you're taking everything up together. Slow, sure, steady. You're building your energy, your endurance, your nerve power. The great thing about these is you're working so many different directions. And that's a good thing.
So you're creating a more powerful but more efficient machine that doesn't need as much fuel.
It doesn't need as much fuel.
And so the actual innate energy inside the muscle is higher instead of actually burning an external energy, which would be food. Yeah. So the energy that just literally... So you're basically creating a bigger battery inside your body.
You're creating your own energy.
Right.
Without all the excess food.
Now, let me ask a question about that, because I've seen people do isometrics, and I only know a few people who can do it, but I've seen people actually get stronger the longer and harder that they push, because they're not burning energy up as they push. They're creating energy as they go. They're actually is there a secret to that?
Yeah, you're building your bodily energy. You're training your nerves. The nerves activate. It's bringing oxygen, the nutrients to them when you're twitching them, making them stronger. Well, the stronger your nerves are, the stronger your muscles are going to be, because the more you can contract. Your tendons, ligaments, bones. It's like you're building. See, if you do it where you don't get too tired, just pace yourself. Just let it come up natural and slow. And you're actually, from each workout, you're gaining energy. You're just multiplying without having to eat like a horse. You don't have to eat like tons of steaks and eggs and eat good, whatever you're hungry for, but you don't have to go crazy. Right. You're using your willpower to do more work to build the power. You're using your willpower as your steroid. And more work or more intensity, longer holds or more different exercises. You're doing more work then.
If you wanted to use these for maximum power, how many days a week would you do it?
For maximum power, if you're on the weights and this,
yeah,
I would probably wouldn't go over 2, maybe 1, 2. Well, I go 1 day, maybe 2, maybe an hour and a half each session.
And that's the isometric session, and then the other days
session
would be weights, or how many days would you do weights, and how many days would you do isometrics?
Or you could do isometrics. You do your weight session, then go back later that night or sometime later and do your isometric session. Everybody's different, because
right.
Some people can run 30 miles every day without resting because they're trained for it. Some people run 30, have to rest 2 weeks.
Right.
It's the level your body's conditioned to that determines how much work you can do.
Right. if you wanted to do maximum endurance with them, what would you do?
Maximum endurance, I would do a lot of different exercises. I'd mix everything together. Do long holds, a lot of high reps, a lot of different directional movements, up, down, sideways. I'd keep going, like legs. Like think all your joints in a circle. Like your foot goes up, back, this way, down, in a circle. Try to work every joint in a circle, all around, every direction. Your wrist, your shoulder, your waist. Then like say if you lift a weight here, and you twist, you're using certain muscles. Like if you're pushing up, you twist this way, you're using different muscles. If you move your legs like this and push up, you're working all different muscles. Every different position your feet are in, like wide, like this, toes up, ankles in, ankles out, straight, wide leg, bent over, like crouched, and you're moving, trying to move something, like with you're working different muscles. Just like with your hand, if you pull back and up, you're working different muscles. If you pull in and up, you're working different, out and up, you work your positions at your joints. Same with your arm, like this. Okay, if your arm's tight, like bent together, and you pull up, you're working different muscles, and if your arm's straight here, you pull up. Here, it's more back here, and here, it's more in front. And then if you twist and pull, see every different lock of your joints under pressure ties in different nerves and different muscles.
Do you think there's one particular one that pays off bigger than the others? Do you have a favorite, or do you think there's one real... I mean, I know that the whole point, and you just discussed that, is to go as many angles, as many directions as possible, but if you had to just pick something simple, one or two things... kind of depends on what you're trying to strengthen. Right.
Like, see this bar ain't in the right place. This thing ain't big enough. If I had this bar right here, where I can stand straight up and down, like this. If I had a bar right there, like a quarter squat, and I could pull down on these bars here, and push straight up, and hold it, like up for bars behind my neck. The solid, push up, in and down, and hold that like that, straight. I think that would be a real good one, because it hits your spine.
Everything together.
Your spine, toughens your spine in. That's straight up. Plus you can generate so much power because your muscles are all on a line. And just hold it for time. And you're pulling in and down. So you're hitting your chest, you're pulling down, it hits your lats, your back. And that would be a real good one.
Making everything work together all at one time.
Together.
Do you think any one particular exercise contributed to you being able to lift the grain truck?
Yeah, all these did.
Just all of it playing together?
All these played together.
Right.
Because, well, I used to weigh like 380 pounds. I was walking across the road with 1,200 pounds behind my neck. Was back lifting 5,000. I could take a 300-pound barbell, stiff-legged, pop it to my chest, and just press it. You carry huge, heavy rocks around, and I couldn't lift that truck wheel off the ground. I then got diabetes type 2. I went from 380 to like 210 in 8 months. It about killed me. I was drinking like 5 gallons of water a day. I'm stubborn. I should have went to the doctor. Didn't know, I should have got to the doctor. My nerves in my feet were so fucking dead I couldn't walk. I could not stand on my toes like this with both feet. I went from the strongest legs in the world 8 months later to I could not lift myself on my toes with 2 feet. I was stumbling around the house, tripping, falling down. I'd step off a curb, my legs would buckle. Finally went to the doctor when I couldn't walk, and they did all these tests. So you get type 2 diabetes, your blood sugar is 800. You're lucky you're not dead. And I was fighting myself from going into these comas with sheer willpower from all the years of training. It develops your connection between your upper and lower mind. It gives you more drive, more, you're just better connected. You got more push mentally. And that's probably what saved my life, actually.
Wow.
So I went through all that. I mean, I looked terrible. I was really weak. They got me on the pills. It took a couple months to get it under control. Then I started training on these isometrics, like at about 210 pounds body weight. Went from 380 to 210 in 8 months. I was just doing 2-3 hours a day of this kind of stuff, like I just showed you. I was going around town pushing, pulling on farm machinery, like bike racks, playground equipment, cars, trucks, combines, trailers, any direction I could think of. Standing, kneeling, legs wide, all different positions like I'm showing you here. I did all that for about 1.5 years. And one day I thought, you know what, I'm kind of shoving things around pretty good. Like I was moving stuff that was heavy. But I'm going to try that truck wheel. Backed up, that sucker come right off the ground. I couldn't lift. I was hand and thigh lifting like 2,150 before the diabetes hit me. But I couldn't lift that truck wheel. After 1.5 years of these isometrics, I popped right up to that truck, popped it right off the ground. But some of the other things I was doing, I probably couldn't do as much in, because I trained them all the time.
Right.
Like
so
heavy weights. That's
what you're actually practicing at that moment makes a big difference.
What I actually practiced, I wasn't as good at.
Right.
I practiced the wheel once in a while, but not that often. And I thought I was building my strength in these other areas to lift the truck wheel, kind of. And it never happened on the weights. But I was walking with 1,200 across the road, back lifting 5,000. I was cleaning, stiff-legged, cleaning 300, pressing it, big rocks, barrels. I still couldn't lift that damn truck wheel. But after doing 1.5 years, these, even from my weakened state, my body was so weak when I started. 1.5 years, I couldn't walk. I was tripping around the house and falling. 1.5 years later, I'm pumping that truck wheel off the ground.
So you got back to walking and everything to begin with.
Got back to walking.
Obviously, it regenerated the nerves.
It regenerated the nerves.
And all from the isometrics.
All from the isometrics. See, when all this happened, I couldn't even walk, so I couldn't lift weights.
Right.
I had no balance in my feet, no power. I had no feeling. My feet were beet red. I lost all my nerve sensation, had no power. I was falling, walking down around the house. I mean, literally falling down. With the isometrics, I regenerated those nerves. I probably got my feet about 90% back, probably 95% back.
Wow.
And I got on supplements I was taking was coral calcium. I got on fish oil, olive oil. I got on wheatgrass. I got on MSM pill, which is a sulfur. I got on kelp, seaweed. And your seaweed's got all your nutrients, your little teeny nutrients.
Minerals and stuff,
enzymes, minerals, amino acids.
Right.
I got on all that natural stuff and pretty much cured the diabetes.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't 100% cure, but pretty much.
Right. Well, to go from that to be able to even walk again, I mean, that's, you might as well be cured.
I got off the pills. Some of those pills they were giving me, like Advantage or something like that, was giving people heart attacks. 50% of everybody that took that frickin' pill got a heart attack. That Actos, it was giving people bladder cancer. It's just not good for you. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
They're advertising that stuff on TV all the time now. It made my teeth brittle, but my teeth started breaking off.
Wow.
After I took that Actos, they were just snapping, making my bones brittle. Yeah, it was...
That's pretty horrible.
But I used all these positions here I'm going to show. This is only maybe a third, quarter of the stuff I was doing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this just a little bit of picture. I kind of built this machine to do these quickly.
Right. So you can
don't have
move
to readjust stuff
without stop. Right. Right.
all in one spot. That's why I built. It ain't like I want it, but it's good better than nothing.
Right. Right. What were you in the diabetes thing? What were you eating? You changed how you were eating. I mean, other
Yeah,
than
I
the
changed.
natural
I got off
stuff.
the pop. Main thing I did was got off the pop and the beer.
Right.
The pop. I went to diet pop. I got off anything with a lot of sugar,
Right.
carbs. I kept my meals smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of filling your plate like this,
Mm-hmm.
just put enough on to just kind of halfway, just a little, like 5 different meals instead of one big one.
Right.
5 littler meals instead of one two
Right.
great big meals. That way you keep your metabolism going, burning fast, and you're not overloading your pancreas on the insulin.
Mm.
See, the bigger your stomach is, the more insulin your body takes.
Right.
The more stress it puts on your it gives you a better chance of getting diabetes.
Mm.
The bigger your stomach is, just not good.
Right.
These isometrics, they make you feel real good. They make you feel real good because you're working so many different nerves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get tired while you're doing, pace yourself, they'll give you a feeling like you're in just make you feel like 30 years younger.
Because it kind of turns everything on that's not normally being turned on. It turns all those nerves on.
You're working all these muscles around your organs, all these different nerves. You're getting that oxygen in these nerves. You just feel so much better. You got so much more energy than I've done everything, I've done weights, running, swimming, bicycling, basketball, you name it, I've probably done it. Nothing will make you feel as good as these isometrics. And as far as if you get injured, these are probably one of the best ways to rehabilitate, because you can work around the injury. You can work other things, kind of avoid the place that's hurt. And by working other things, you're getting that blood moving, you're activating those nerves. And those nerves, even though you're doing something that ain't in the injured area, those nerves are twitching in that injured area from doing other things. And it's jumping. Your body's like one unit. So when you get an injury, you do these isometrics, you'll heal up 10 times quicker. If you get injured and you lay around and do nothing, it will take you forever to heal up.
Right.
Especially if it's a bad injury.
Right.
The more blood you get going, the more nerves you get twitching and clicking, the faster you'll heal an injury, like 10 times faster.
Well, it all makes sense with the modern science on nerves, and nerves work like overlaying patches on a quilt. And if one patch is dead, the other patch still touches it. And if you work those nerves hard enough, it takes over. That's what spinal rehabilitation and all that's about today. Valentin DeCole's work and some of the other guys. That's the same thing. I think that's got to be some of the reasoning behiing the neuropathy, being able to undo the neuropathy as well.
Like you, bud, when you bend those spikes and those nails, you're using a lot of muscle. You're using a lot of different nerves.
Right.
In a tight, explosive little area. And I mean, if they did studies, just that one little explosion, quick explosion, would activate those nerves throughout your whole body, probably. Even though it's here, you're bringing everything.
It's everywhere. Right. If you had it to do over again, now let me ask one quick question. When you went back and lifted you were 380, you dropped to 210, you came back a little bit after that when you lifted the wheel. What body weight were you when you lifted the wheel?
Yeah, I was like 295.
Oh, you came back that and you gained that much weight back?
Yeah, see, what I did was, I was in super good shape, and when I lifted the wheel right after about a year and a half that isometric training. Well, then since I got back to better health, I just slacked off and I started eating heavy again, and I wasn't training again. Right. So I gained a lot of weight.
But now that's what you're at right now, or that's what you were doing when you lifted the wheel?
When I lifted the wheel, I was 290.
Okay.
But I went from 380. Well, I was one of the strongest dudes on the planet, probably. I ranked right up there. Went down to 210, about half dead. Did a year and a half isometrics, got my nerves regenerated, my whole body, pumped the truck wheel up, and I got to where I could do reps with it. Well, then I just took a break.
Right.
I just started eating, and went clear back up to 290.
Right.
I thought, well, shit, I'm going to film that truck wheel thing, get it on the internet, to show people that people are interested. And then that's when I did that. But right now, if I just practice just a little bit, I've only been practicing a couple of weeks now on this ice. It's like heavy the last couple of weeks. I've been training heavy.
Hmm.
I could probably pop that wheel up if I put my mind to it another month.
Right.
It'd come up again at my lighter body weight.
Right. Right.
At 80 pounds lighter.
If you want to use the isometrics to drop body weight, to control body weight, or to gain body weight, how would you change? What would you do different if you wanted to gain or lose body weight with the isometrics?
Well, if you want to gain body weight with isometrics, you would want to do shorter workouts, like more intensity, less endurance, less reps, less longer holds. Like more, that'd be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
These isometrics will strip the weight off you quick. I believe faster than any other thing, anything. You put a couple hours of these in every day, in 2 weeks you'll change your whole body in 3 weeks. You won't be the same. These will literally strip the weight off you faster than anything I've ever found. While you're keeping your strength, your speed, you're gaining speed and strength while you're losing weight.
Right. If you had it to do over again and you wanted to get as strong as you were at 380 or the biggest you ever were, but you wanted to be healthier,
yeah, I would never.
What would you do? Yeah,
I would never do like I did before. Eat like a horse and do low set workouts. And I would never do that ever again.
No.
No matter how much strength you get from it, it ain't worth your health.
Right.
There's no point to it.
Right. So the isometrics would be in all the time?
Would be in all the time.
Right, and then you would just mix it with the other things you wanted to work on?
Mix it with the heavy iron.
Right.
And I wouldn't overeat.
Right. Just sort of take it easy with the food and let things gain naturally, but not go crazy.
Yeah, I'd let the body gain naturally. On the heavy weights, I'd just do more sets.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say the hand. Let's say I would just keep increasing sets with a certain number of reps till you get a whole bunch of sets at the same weight. Say you start out doing 3 sets of 2. And at the end of 3 sets and 2, you're kind of just a little tired. Well, the next workout I do like 5 sets of 2 or 6 sets of 2. And then the next time do 8 sets of 2. Next time do 14 sets of 2. And 20 sets of 2. And take it up to 40 sets of 2. And when you get there, you can add more weight. And then drop back down to 3 sets of 2. 5 sets of 2, 7 sets of 2, take it clear up to 50 sets of 2 or 100 sets of 2, and add more weight. Add more weight and drop the sets down. Just keep rocking it like a stair step. Adding sets increases the bodily energy, toughens tendons, ligaments, joints, nerves. Add a lot of sets, then you can add more weight because your body can do more work. When you add more weight, you do a little less work. Let your body adapt, and then add more sets when you're adding more work. And when you add all that extra work, you can throw more weight on and do it easily.
Right.
It's you're using your willpower.
Right, as a building block instead of
steroids or tons of protein or.
Right. Right.
You're doing more work as your steroid.
Right.
You're building your willpower too, your will.
When you originally got into isometrics, what got you into isometrics the first time?
I was just amazed with isometrics. Enticed with them. Mm-hmm. Like it seems such a fast way, safer. It's safer actually too. From when you're throwing live weight around, you got a better chance of getting injured. Here you can gauge how much pressure you're pushing, and you can bring everything up slow. You can get injured on these. You got to be careful though, but it's not near as dangerous as live weight.
Right.
But once you get toughened in pretty good, you pretty don't have too much to worry about doing these.
Right. Where did you? Do you remember the first time you actually heard about isometrics, or where? And did anybody influence you in that particularly? And then I mean, obviously you've gone your own way. I mean, this is different stuff than anybody else has done. But.
There was a book I saw years ago. One of my friends had. They were using isometrics on a power rack or bar. Well, it had 2 I-beams with holes up and down each side with a bar they'd stick through at different heights.
Mm-hmm.
And they had all these pictures of this dude doing all these different exercises. You can do it. You can do a lot of different things on a deal like that, or in a power rack. You can do more there than you can with what I showed you here, even. Because you got better range. You can go clear above your head. But the guy was in such good shape. He was just like toned everywhere. Like he wasn't. It's hard to explain.
Wasn't huge necessarily, but just really developed in every way.
You can see he was like developed, like toughened look, like you can see a toughened look. Like weights, now live weights, heavy real weights, yeah, they make you super strong, but they don't. With the isometrics, you can do so many different directions. It just gives you a tougher look.
Right.
You can get huge, big, and powerful, on the weights, but you're not working as many all those different muscles, keeping those little muscles toned in. And like Arthur Saxon, he said the more muscles you work, the better. Work every different muscle you can think of.
Right.
And he was a dude that bent press 375 with one arm, 200-pound body weight.
Right.
He says work everything. Work short pulls, heavy pulls, overloads, holds, one arm, two arm, anything you can think of. Pull every little strap of muscle into play you can think of. And he would do like heavy singles on his bent press for like 2 hours straight. He'd single for 2 hours straight with maximum weights, but he'd pace himself.
Right.
People that watched him work out said it looked like he was getting stronger towards the end of the workout than before he started. And then the dude could go drink 50 beers after that, like he did it every day.
Right. So I said this in my isometric stuff, and I would say you say the same thing. They perfectly work as a standalone workout, but you're not going to just do isometrics and then go quarter squat 1,800 pounds or something. You have to do the live weight work if you want to. Now they'll help.
Exactly.
They'll actually help you get there much faster.
Yeah.
But you do have to actually do the live weight work if you wanted to get that particular thing out of it. You have to mix both, really, if you want to.
You have to mix whatever you're doing in life. Even in life, it doesn't matter what you do. To be the best at what you do, you have to actually do that.
Right.
It goes with weights. It goes. You can do all these weights. You come and do these isometrics, you'd be weak.
Right.
In a lot of places.
Well, I found that when we tested guys, pretty strong with the weights. You start the isometrics out, and it's not so strong in certain ways. It's not.
Or you can do a lot of isometrics and go to weights and be weak. You got to practice whatever you want to be good at. That's what you'll be the best at.
Right.
But the good thing about these is they fill in the blank spots.
Right.
Around the joints, little muscles, the little stuff like. You see a running back running on a football field, somebody hits him, his knee rips from the side, his knee rips to pieces. Or he makes a cut, like he twists and cut and he tears his ankle or his knee, or even though he's gotten super strong, like power cleaning and squats, and that's straight up and down power. He's working the big muscles, but when it comes to being out of position, making a twist, something rips then.
Right.
Because it ain't toughened in that certain position.
Right.
That's the whole key, toughening all the positions in.
I found that when I ran, played football, and then didn't run again for years and years and years. And then when I went back to run again, I'd always pull a muscle. And I feel like it's the same thing you're talking about there. I spent all these years and years and years making these big muscles just massively powerful, but the little ones couldn't keep up. So when I went to run, it would stress them in a way, and then they'd fall apart. I think the isometrics is one of the key to doing that.
Exactly.
Now you said in your book,
And that's why when people go to play softball,
Mhm.
they're always getting injured.
right, because they don't
Their
do
knees, their ankles, they're always pulling something.
right.
And like me, I was benching like 475, power cleaning 300, stiff legged, half squatting 600 for 40, 50 reps without a belt or wraps. And I went to punch this, like these punching bags.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, these littler dudes that were more athletic were out punching me.
Mm.
They were generating more power.
Right.
Even though I was a lot more powerful than the big muscles. It's those little muscles that give you speed, strength.
So you think for a fighter or some like a boxer or a puncher, these would be good to go? Or
It'd be the greatest thing you could ever do.
right.
For a fighter, boxer, wrestler, ultimate fighter, football player, basketball player, anything, swimmer.
To keep the little muscles working so you don't get injured, and to make the big muscles fire better because the little muscles can keep up.
Yeah, and tie all those nerves in, toughen all over 360 around every joint. You can't go wrong.
Right. Is there anything special you'd recommend for fighters?
I would recommend doing isometrics.
I mean, any special isometric though? Any particular one or anything?
And I'd do them all.
Just everything.
I'd recommend doing a lot of punch training too in different positions, different leg positions. Up on your toes, wide, narrow, in squatted positions. I would do all kinds of different punches in all different angles. Down, I'd punch the ground, I'd get on my knees, punch the ground, I'd punch the wall, I'd punch I'd punch back, I'd go like this, I'd punch sideways, punch down, punch up, punch this, every different. I do
every direction.
I do it in all different leg positions too. I'd punch from the back. All the more positions you work punching, the more you're going to tone in. And I'd punch stuff that was solid, like concrete walls, and to build the G-force to stop.
Right.
To stop. You're generating the power, throwing the punch. Then if you hit something solid, the stop builds strength too. It densens your bones up.
Right. You talked about in your book you started isometrics right after you had the hay baling job, where it was hard for you.
Yeah,
Is
right.
That when,
right. Kind of during throwing the hay bales.
and that's kind of what provoked you to the isometric, or you just happened to do it and it all of a sudden made you way better at the hay bales?
Yeah, well, I was throwing the hay bales. Like we put 25,000 in for pork farmers, summer 10,000 for M&P, like 2 hog farms. Then all winter long, we're hauling out of barns up by Lincoln, Fremont, to cattle people around here. Because back then we used to get a lot of snow. And my boss, excuse me a second. The boss had been hauling hay all his life, and he was toughened in. See, I was a rookie. I was doing some weightlifting, but I had no idea what the hay hauling was going to involve. It was tremendously tough and hard, and you needed a lot of coordination and endurance. Well, the first day of the job, I'm giving it hell. Turning off me, I'm in this barn, stepping in holes, losing my hay hook, trying to keep up with him. He's up there in the truck cracking jokes, not even a bit tired. He's cracking jokes, and I'm basically dying. And that does something to your mental. I got that warrior mentality. When I'm challenged, I just can't stop. I got to figure out how to beat somebody to beat me if I want to beat them bad enough. And I thought, okay, buddy, we'll see. About 5 years later, I started throwing hay bales. I started doing running. I was working with the hay all the time. I threw in isometrics, which helped me with the hay bales. It kept me toughing more things in. So we unloaded a load up there by Hastings one day, 300 bales, I think, this hay mound. And we made a deal to take our pulses before we started. And when we wait 5 minutes after we got done and take our pulse. We unloaded that load in like 20 minutes. Had to drag him clear inside the building, off the truck, clear him. He sat down, I sat down, we took our pulse, and his was faster than mine. I was in that good a shape. I finally outdid him.
Wow.
It took like 5 years though.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of out of wind now, but I got like I got the adrenaline flying doing this interview.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all stirred up and kind of had a cold lately anyway. But.
Right. What is there anything you'd recommend for people who are just starting isometrics to really break into doing them?
Well, I just start doing them.
Just start. Yeah.
Yeah, just take it easy, pace yourself, do a lot of different things, work on the areas you think that you would like to work on.
Right.
And as you keep practicing, whatever you practice, you're going to get better at.
Right.
And the more you think about something, the better you're going to get at it.
Right. So a lot of the guys who are into isometrics now are real body weight guys. They like to get good at push-ups and that kind of thing. They're not really. Some of the guys are lifters, and they're picking it up again now. I think people are really seeing its amazing benefits, and especially after some of the stuff they've seen with you, and a little bit they're starting to see with me. And I got some amazing strength gains from it. What would you do for guys who, just they want to be great at body weight stuff? They want to be like the old Hindu guys and do 1,000 push-ups and that kind of thing. As far as isometrics, is there something you'd particularly recommend there?
Well, yeah, if you want to do 1,000 push-ups, I'd just get under a bar and something that won't move, like you're doing a push-up, and just spend a couple hours a day pushing against it.
Mm.
And like here, and here, 3 positions.
Mm.
Just a couple hours every other day. And you do that for a couple months, you'd probably be cranking some big push-ups numbers out.
Right. Now for the old York style and the thing you mentioned, and they always mentioned that really the bottom, middle, top, that kind of thing. Now your deal is very different because you're going a million different directions and angles or whatever. But do you do? Yeah. If you were going to do it for a lift, would you do the same with that? Would you do more of that bottom, middle, top thing?
Yeah, if you're going to do it for a lift, I would do about 6 or 8 positions.
Oh, you do it more. Yeah, I found that too. I like more positions.
Yeah, I would cover. Yeah, like say a squat. I would do the bottom, up a ways, up a ways, up a ways. I do about 8 positions for something like that. The longer you go on a lift, the more position. To toughen.
To do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, Now you told me, and it will end now because we've got 2 full DVDs of a brand new isometric course from you right now. And this will be the first one. I think there's more. There's a lot more you got to tell and show or whatever. But just tell the story real quick. People haven't heard this. I know you had that 300-pound weighted vest on, and you were doing isometrics with that too.
Yeah, I had a 300-pound chain vest I made out of double wide ruler chain. It would be like. I'll just step out here so I can show you. I had it made out of stuff like this. I had tire underneath of it, and I had a big chain belt here, and I had bars welded on it where I could slide weights on it. Well, I had this vest up on this countertop, leaning against the wall. I'd back into it, grab the straps, slip them over my shoulders, stand up and hook it. It was 300 pounds. While that vest was on me, I'd be doing different isometric positions, pulling, pushing, like different leg positions, pulling, pushing, twisting, forward, back. And I could go for an hour straight.
Nice.
And that was a killer.
Oh, I bet.
That built a lot of endurance.
One more quick question, Dan. Do you think about anything specific when you do the isometrics, or are you concentrating just on the movement itself, or the contraction, or are you?
Yeah, I'm concentrating on the isometrics. I'm just concentrating on them basically.
Just blocking everything else out and
because I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? As I'm doing one thing, I'm going to the next.
Going from one to the next. Right.
Yeah, it keeps you busy mentally.
And you listen to music? Do you listen to music, or do you usually listen to music? Do you hear your own stuff?
Yeah, I got my own music I listen to.
Right.
It's I think it kind of hypnotizes me into that. Like the old natives used to have drums, and they've done studies. Drums takes your mind into your subconscious mind. A steady drum beat will almost hypnotize you, like tranquilize you. It brings you into your inner mind. It puts you in a hypnotic state. where you're more receptive. The music I played on the keyboard, I got this heavy sound, juicy, sustaining. Some people might think it sucks, but I like it. It puts me in a hypnotic state of mind. When I'm training, it just makes time fly. And I might get that out there and try to sell some of that, maybe.
Cool.
I think some hardcores might get a charge out of that.
Yeah. So we obviously got more to talk about in isometrics, but for now I think we're going to cut off here. Anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, I want to say thank you, Bud, for getting all this going and helping me out. Because I don't know anybody out there. I'm sitting here broke is what the deal is. I have no money. I got all this knowledge from 30 years of training, but you're one of the few guys that have been helping me to get something going here.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sharing your knowledge with people, because I really think there's a lot of value here as far as the isometrics, man. I mean, I really do, and I think that, it's just, that's the deal. And I think one of the things that's so cool is you came to such amazing conclusions about strength with very, very little outside influence. I mean, you're around a couple of lifters once in a while, saw a book or two, but no real, it ain't like you went to college for this, or it ain't like you studied a million different books. It's more your own thought process, and what you came to is what all the science guys are proving out now, but you came to that on your own, like in the middle of nowhere. I mean, man, we're in a, you got everybody's listening. You guys see the city of Harvard, man. It's tiny. It's not
like with me. It was 25, 30 years, 25 at least. All I did was think about training and train. I experimented with everything you could possibly imagine. I've done everything. I've got some unofficial world records. I've done any kind of training you can ever. I probably pushed more iron than 99% of the people on this planet ever did. Maybe 99.9.99. All I did was think about training, sleep, and I was thinking about training. When you think about something constantly and you act on it and experiment, that's when you gain the knowledge to
really do it. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, man, and I think people will really enjoy this course.
Well, thanks, bud.
So, Steve, I'm going to ask you some questions while we're looking at the rack here. Is there any? You've got handles just in every possible direction. Anything particular you just put them in for specific reasons or different random reasons? Or
actually, I would have liked to put a lot more in, but
right.
I had it so small I didn't have room.
Right.
So I figured the more different handles, the more different angles, the more different muscles you can work. That's
right.
how I figured it.
Right.
And what would really be good, imagine a steel pole.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big steel plate on the bottom, bolted to the floor.
Right.
Concrete floor.
Mm-hmm.
Big steel pole with handles all the way down the back side, on the sides. Like handles like this on the pole.
Mm.
Then you could put your shoulder against the pole, wrap your arm around it, pull on the handles and push up against the pole with your shoulder.
Cool.
You could go this way. On a handles like a pole with like half horseshoe or square handles would really be nice. See, I wanted to have that involved with this and have stuff over the head, over so you could work over your head. See, this is only chest high. I wanted to bring it clear up to here where you could work over your head. I wanted to place it like it bigger and wider where you could stretch your whole body out.
I can bend and grab things clear away from you like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on a real good stretch like this.
Mm.
Inside a machine where you can reach clear out to the sides.
See, this is a little too small,
Right.
but it works pretty
Sure
good.
works pretty great. You showed about 1 million variations there.
It fits into a tight spot.
Yeah, yeah.